Welcome, beautiful souls, to another episode of the Spiritual Catalyst podcast, where we talk about all things weird and woo. I am your host, Sarah Lyons, founder of the newearthschool.com.au, and today we have the beautiful Maria Tiburcio with us to talk about activating your inner child's prosperity code. Maria is a spiritual guide and business mentor, guiding women who have begun their journey into the online world to begin their business. As she's always been connected to the spirit world since she was young, Maria decided during the pandemic to support others online. Her deep connection to the ancestral world and full knowledge, which has been passed down from generation to generation, has fully brought her to understand the way of the world. She connects deeply with Jesus Christ, the universe, God, and all source of light to bring the messages of truth within. Maria, welcome!
I love when you do introductions. So beautiful.
My gosh, thank you. You're gorgeous. I'm just, you sound interesting. I love your story, and I'd love to hear about how this led you to to this topic today, activating your inner child's prosperity code.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, one of the main things that I want to share is that we're all creatures of abundance. We all manifest so easily, but sometimes our worldly thoughts can hinder us. And a lot of that can actually stem from how we have felt as children or how we were raised as children, because inner creation, play, all those things, that's where manifestation actually plays the most, right? Like we talk about it in the quantum fields, all the woo stuff, right? We talk about this every single day. But the hardships of it sometimes can actually occur when we're not playing with that inner child, when we're not activating with that inner child, when we're not holding that inner child. And this happens because either responsibilities occur, finances are not in place. I mean, a lot of us are going through different hardships, especially with finance right now. I mean, let's be truthful. There's many of us who are struggling because we are not actually playing enough with the inner child. And I get a lot of clients going, but Maria, I do. But when you're saying that, and your energy is not in that right place, your inner child is honestly telling me, no, we're not. Because there's that attention, that requirement of being seen that holds that inner child back. And so then your activation, and I call it the prosperity codes of the inner child, because we are codes of prosperity. We all have codes within us. We just need to know how to constantly activate it. And when you play with that child every single day, you manifest everything. I mean, I've manifested strange things that I want to say I don't know, but I do. I take ownership of that, right? And that's one of the most important things that the inner child teaches you, is taking ownership of those manifestations, of those abundance moments that you have. Like when you're calling out to maybe money or like wealth or maybe a love life, take ownership of it, accept it, and keep moving forward. And that's the beauty of the inner child. And that's one of the main reasons I came into it, was because I myself, I'm a true inner child. Like I play with teddy bears. I probably talk to my teddy bear more than anything in the world. I really do. But my magic stems from remembering that child that used to see spirit all the time and get called weird for it. And I've accepted her. She's been an acceptance. And my family from one side was very weary because I'm in a country where Catholicism is a huge thing. So when I started to really acknowledge her and accept her, not only did I manifest a complete change in my family, they now see me for me, which is what we all wish for every single day. And it can happen to any of us. And it happens to my clients all the time. It's like the most amazing feeling I ever get. Like, it's not about just wealth. It's about those moments where family, loved ones, friends, they fully see you because you see you. You see your inner self. And that's the inner child, honestly.
Beautiful. I love that so much. And, it makes so much sense to me because I, I'm an observer, and yes, I've had three children of my own, but I love to watch other children, and they're really good manifestors because they're still holding those joy codes, and it's so beautiful. And I'm just wondering, like you said, the state of the world at the moment is very interesting, and many humans, we can take life very seriously because we have feelings and we need to process what's going on. So I'm wondering what you would suggest if a woman or a client came to work with you and they were caught up in that serious energy. How would you support them in bringing out or connecting with that inner child, whatever your process is?
Absolutely. First, I acknowledge the emotion that's in front. And I think it has a lot to stem with wanting to control the situation always. And it's very much based on, finances, relationships, whatever it is, wanting to control how others feel, wanting to control how our finances come. And that actually is the pinnacle, the starting point of the emotion. So what I do is I release that with emotional codes and go into a deep meditation state with them. I call in the inner child through what I call the three doors, the past, present, and future. And in these meditation states, I acknowledge with them and allow them to see within themselves how to open the play, the consistent joy, the laughter, the moments, and the truth, what they've been holding back. Where is this stemming from? What part of the childhood is it occurring in? And most of the times when we release that control of wanting to have certain things in specific spaces is when they actually start to really see the manifestation, really see the love change, really see how people react around them. Because I think it's just human nature for us within the systems to try and control everything. And as women, because we've been stemmed in a certain way, that we have to have the control in the house. We have to have control of ourselves, our emotions, our feelings. We can't show too much. We can't do too much. Those thought processes are what holds us back even more. And so when we're coming into the energetics of it, allowing this inner child play to come through, getting them to touch a tree, go outside, be barefoot. So one of my clients is always beside a beach. I'm like, go to the beach and just dip in. Those moments, then we realize, okay, actually, it isn't my responsibility to do this, or this, because that's what we hold on to, is this responsibility that it's ours, when technically it's a collective of people, right? Especially in households. So that's how I work with my clients. And in these meditative states, not only do I call the inner child into the space, but the ancestor that also played a huge role, like a parent, a mother, a father, a grandfather, that was a potent part of their life, a memory, a syncing of a memory. For example, I had a client who has a huge memory with her grandmother and in how she really felt when she was being heard, seen, or loved. And so we call that in, because ancestry and inner child, everything, all these things, we all seek it, but it's all within us. It's right there in that moment when you connect. And from those times, and not to toot my own horn or anything here, guys, but about 90% of my clients who do the work, who work with the inner child on a consistent basis, and I say consistent. Now, like I said, I work with mine every single day, every single hour. Now, you don't have to do that, but you do want to acknowledge your inner child on a daily basis, because there's emotions that we tend to hold back on, right? Like expression or any of those things. And so the inner child allows us to be truthful and authentic to us, not to anyone else, to us, because it challenges us to make changes every single day. And so that allows it to come through. And within that process of those meditations and those connections every day, I see changes, things manifesting. I just had a client who called me the other day and was like, Maria, I literally just manifested the love of my life. He showed up out of nowhere unexpectedly. I was like, unexpectedly? Are you sure? And she said, actually, expectedly, yeah, I guess. And it was because she let go of the desire and the need to be loved. And
Oh,
so that,
oh. Wow. Wow. This feels very much like, to put it in simple terms, it's surrender, right? And if we look at happy, healthy children, they're fully surrendered. They know their needs are going to be met. They know that they're going to get what they want most of the time. Most children, pretty much, they're really good. My son is really good at getting what he wants. Even if I don't want to give it to him, he finds a really good way, to make it happen. And I think it's beautiful. And I think, that's why I love to witness children, is we've got a lot to learn from them. Especially with this new wave of children coming in. But for those of us that are still breaking the molds of the old paradigms, I'm just wondering what advice you would have to maybe some of the audience, some of the listeners are wondering, like, yeah, that sounds good, but maybe they've tried the inner child work before and it didn't work for them at the time, or it was a one and done thing. How can someone truly find a way that works for them? And obviously there's multiple ways, but what suggestions would you have? You spoke about going outside. I love that. I really love that. I know for me, when I think of inner child work, I think of meditation. So what are those things we can do on a daily basis?
So this is the main one that I actually do give advice quite often on. And I think it's very much stemmed from observation. And as you mentioned, you observe your own children, right? Your own child in what they do. If you have gone into a space before and it hasn't worked, I suggest going to a park filled with children and watching them express themselves, be in those moments, and see, and that memory gland in your back of your mind will pop up and go, oh my gosh, I remember when I was a child and I used to just play with sand and it felt so good. And those energetics come through. And those memory energetics will build up onto your dopamine, whatever it is, and help you to remember. And then being in that space will also allow you to reconnect with what felt safe for you. See, the thing about inner child work is security. We have to feel secure within ourselves, and the inner child also has to feel that. So finding a space like parks where children are filled and they're in their space, they're playing, they're laughing, they're enjoying themselves. And really, now, again, I know some countries we're a little cold right now, so that might not be the case. But even just if you're watching a video filled with children on it and seeing how they're expressing themselves, how they're feeling, and allowing that memory to come through for you, that's what I would give advice on, to connect with the inner child more and more.
So beautiful. Oh, so beautiful. We really tend to lose that expression over the years. That's why I love watching children. If they're sad, they'll cry. If they're happy, they'll squeal, or be how they want to be. And it's just so beautiful. So thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome. I think, it's a fascinating world in the spiritual realm, because we're always being asked as women, men, and children to express ourselves. And there can be times where we forget how to do that. Even though, let's be honest, there are times social media looks so pretty. Everything looks pretty. And I say this because it's the truth, but in deepness within us, how are we truly feeling? I mean, I have to say, and I say this with heart, I am happy every single day. And, yes, things can go in chaos and moments, and I let it go. And things come together so quickly, so smoothly. I had a situation one time where something just didn't work, and I let it go. And I was like, okay, done, surrender, move on. And things just kept flowing anyways. And so that's the thing, right? That's what the inner child really lets us do is, as you said, it allows us to surrender and to really trust. And if you're in this world of spirit, that is the biggest thing spirit teaches us anyway. So if we can find that in any modalities, be it with inner child work, shadow work, whatever it is, or whatever it is that we do in this world, whatever resonates with all of us in this podcast, find that one thing. But working with the inner child allows us to feel within us that we are worthy, we are enough, and we are here to be our most expressive self, whatever kooky, crazy silliness that is.
Beautiful, and so needed for some people to hear. Sometimes we feel like we need that permission. There's judgment on how we express ourselves, but it's really about just being who we are and expressing what that is for us in the moment. I know for me, if I'm having a feeling, it helps me to say to myself or my inner child, hey, that feels a bit yuck, doesn't it? Like, let's just allow that. Yeah, it's true flow and it's beautiful. And a lot of the collective cards I've pulled recently are actually, they're about children, love, play. So it makes sense. This is a big collective shift that I would love to see for all.
Absolutely. It's a huge, giant playground for all of us to play in.
Thank you so much. And Maria, for those listeners that are like, yes, this is for me, I want to get into that energy, I want to connect and express, how can we find you?
Absolutely. You can find me on TikTok under Legacy Designs, which is actually my TikTok page. Or you can also find me on Facebook under Maria De Luna, which is, yes, one of my last names. But I am Maria De Luna Tiburcio, and that actually is where I mostly do a lot of my work. I do one-to-one programs and group programs together with people, and mostly one-to-ones because inner child work is very one-on-one basis. And I do that because I really love to connect with people on a deep manner as well. But yeah, it's usually a space where we get to truly express ourselves, and that's where it's at. So if you have any questions, definitely ask me in there and come connect. I love to have coffee chats with people because I really like to get to know everyone. So
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you. And I'll make sure that I pop those links in the episode description. Thank you so much again for being here with us today. Thank you to our beautiful listeners for joining us today. And if you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a review and following us for more Spiritual Catalyst episodes in the future. See you all next time. Bye.